Hey there, aspiring guitarist. I hope you're having a great weekend. I want to talk about a guitar encyclopedia or encyclopedias. Now, when I was growing up, we never had a new one, but we had a world book, a Grolier, a book of knowledge. Encyclopedias were the most fascinating thing to me in the entire world. There were times I'd go get the A volume, and I'd just sit in my bedroom at night when I was a kid and just start reading, and it was wonderful. And now we don't have encyclopedias so much. They still exist. You can still buy encyclopedias printed edition. They're pretty expensive. They were expensive when I was growing up. That's why we had used ones. I think my mother got a used set from the Goodwill, but every year she would buy the yearly update that was supposed to update things that were in the encyclopedia. And so, why am I talking about encyclopedias? Is there a guitar encyclopedia? Well, actually, there's a lot of them. So, why do we need an encyclopedia? Well, stay with me. I think this will make some sense. I am about to do another take it a step further video coming up over the next week or two on the circle of fifths again and scales and how the circle of fifths and scales tie together. Now, I'm going to have some things like this. I'm going to have the circle of fifth chord wheels. You even see I did a whole thing on this. I'm going to actually use a guitar tab, and we're going to write out how all this ties together. We're going to learn some things about how, with the circle of fifths, it's more than just taking the key and picking what's on each side, that they actually fit in the scale in a certain way. And we're going to talk about that, and I think it's going to hopefully bind some of this together. Now, why do we need to do this in the first place? That's where I'm getting at with an encyclopedia. Now, I can't convince you to go to print. I've been a book lover my whole life. I was one of the first people to embrace Kindle. In fact, in the early 90s, I was a member of the Project Gutenberg project around the world. You can look it up on Wikipedia, where there were literally thousands of us all around the world who were taking things that were in the public domain, the classics, all kind of things, and we were typing it into a database to where it could be in the Project Gutenberg. It still exists today. It's wonderful. It was a collaboration of many of us that felt the printed word was important. So I had encyclopedias. Here was the nice thing about an encyclopedia. I could go to bed, read it, just be filled with the wonder of knowledge. But I didn't get distracted. That encyclopedia didn't jump up and tell me, bing, so-and-so just posted a TikTok video. Bing, somebody just, bing. I don't do this Facebook on my phone. I used to. I used to be, I was one of the first people to ever join Facebook because I came from social media. And I used to be one of those that, I kind of emboldened the lower carb diet, not keto. I'm not trying to start that fight. I'm just saying for me, it was simply watching what I considered bad carbs, and it helped me. So, I would take a picture of when we went out to do all the things people do on Facebook. And anyway, I was real excited when I saw the first encyclopedia go digital. I thought that was great, but then the problem happened that I knew I'd considered, and it happened: distractions. So there are some things you can do that minimize distractions. I know there's some you can do on the phone. You can go into do not disturb modes and things like that. But, I use a Paperwhite Kindle. And there's nothing on there. I'm not talking about a Kindle tablet. I'm talking about a Paperwhite Kindle. My wife and I have been sharing Amazon Kindle ever since it came out. And the nice thing about the Paperwhite is I can go outside and the sun can hit it and it's just like a book. It's not that expensive. They come in different sizes. I happen to like an easy one like this. Another one I've embraced, this is nothing more than a cover for it, but is the Kindle Scribe. And you can see I've got on there guitar tabs, learn to read tabs in 60 minutes or less. I know how to read tabs, but it was a guitar resource I was looking at. Another reason I like this Kindle Scribe, now it's expensive. As far as I'm concerned, it is. It has the ability to write notes on it. Now, the document has to be scribe friendly, and many of them are. But once again, why do I like it? Because I'm not distracted. So, what's the Guitar Encyclopedia? Well, there's lots of them. I'm a big fan of J.R.R. Tolkien, but I was a big fan of J.R.R. Tolkien long before Peter Jackson made the movies, long before. I got introduced to J.R.R. Tolkien from a high school English teacher, Miss Harris, who I'll always love her for introducing me. We read The Hobbit as part of literature in high school, and then I listened to Led Zeppelin, which made some references, and I loved it. But one of the things I did to help me understand, Tolkien created his own language. Tolkien had a society that was hard to understand, and consequently, it's one of the few books that I have read multiple times. The only book I've read more than the Tolkien trilogies, the Silmarillion things, is the Bible. And the Bible tops Tolkien by far in my book. But Tolkien is a great work of literature to me. But that's not the point. You may hate Tolkien. You know, Tolkien can draw out a story. Now, I kind of like that. But anyway, they had a Middle-earth encyclopedia that my wife and I bought. Pardon the cats. Well, it's a color. Y'all seen Blaze. Blaze is a color point. They talk. But anyway, Tolkien, it was the Tolkien Encyclopedia. You can still buy it now. But it helped me so much when I was reading Tolkien. I was like, wait. Where did that come from? Where was Thranduil from? And I could just go look. This is one of my favorite guitar encyclopedias. Guitar Theory for Dummies. Dessa Cerna. Now, why do I think this is something good to have to keep you from going down rabbit holes? To keep you from getting lost? Because this is extremely in-depth. But it's in-depth from the position of guitar. In other words, he's a guitarist. He knows music theory forward and backwards, but he applied it to the guitar. And you're going to get some music theory in here. But he actually, and there is one of the most wonderful things I discovered as a young person ever, an index. Remember how I talked about using define on a Google search and you would get at least the definition, a concise definition? It would be great if you had the time to read this, that you could put all things aside, and you may think, I don't want to read crap like that. Well, I get it. But this gives you something to go back to. Somebody starts talking to you about triads, go to the index, find triads, look it up. He's going to give you what it is. Then you're going to see the lesson. I'm not saying you're going to do the lesson, but now you know what somebody's talking about. Chromatic scale, harmonic scale, Ionian, Leodian, this, that, the other, everything, every terminology that you're seeing all over YouTube, you're actually seeing in mine. I'm trying real hard when we talk about these basic things to break it down to a basic level. I felt like the Circle of Fifths video I had helped a lot of people, and I kept trying to say over and over again, there's more. There is so much more, and you can tie it to it. So When we move to the upcoming video and all these other things that I told you, from scales to everything, that we're going to try to show that, you know, why you have a 1, 4, 5, and what are they, majors? Are they minors? What are they? We're going to try to tie that in together. And when you see a scale chart, instead of seeing a P and not knowing what they're talking about, you know, what an R, root, P, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, what are they talking about? We're going to try to dive into that. But I can't emphasize enough having a Guitar Encyclopedia as a reference, something to easily go back to. And you see all these diagrams and all this. Music theory is great, and you're going to get some of it in here, but it's applied to the guitar. So I think that having an encyclopedia, if you will, Guitar Encyclopedias with a parentheses around the S. You can have more than one. There is more than one. I have lots of books. I love books. I've told you that. But this is one that I highly recommend. To me, it is a valuable guitar resource. And I think you're going to find out that it removes some of this, what are they talking about? I realize if you're on a phone, maybe SIRI, I don't want to get her started, isn't going to respond to you saying to define a triad or this, that, and other. They will, but there may be times it's not inappropriate. There will be times you're not going to have it. But you could also get in a habit. This might become interesting reading. So I think a guitar encyclopedia or encyclopedias that go into depth, you know, really go into depth, could be a valuable tool in your guitar journey. We're going to have that video out there in the next week or two. I hope your guitar journey is blessed, and as always, happy picking.